Hello, everyone. Welcome to our comprehensive training. Uh, Comprehensive implementation training. This course consists of 8 modules from zero to certification, and we are going to use a real life case study. We are going to use a medium complex company. We are going to dissect it into pieces, and we are going to walk through it to implement effective ISO 9001 management system. And this course is for you, whether you are a consultant, a director, whether you are a technician, a manager, whether you are a business owner. This course will give you clarity. Instead of classes, we are going to merge them together and see uh, how this complex is simplified in real life. So we have picked up an organization named Meat House Organization. It's specialized in meat slaughtering, processing, packing, and export. And our model one is going to focus on understanding this organization before a comprehensive implementation of ISO 9001 for medium to large company, as we mentioned, which operate in multi-sites. And we will explain later what do we mean by multi-sites operations and implementing system for it. It supplies to national and international markets, and this is the base of which we are going to build all the subsequent models. So in model one here, understanding the scope, context, and process is going to be the focus. So by the end of this module, you should be able, this is model one, and by the end of this module, you should be able to clearly explain how your organization operates from starting to finish. What factors influence your ability to deliver consistent quality, and what your QMS actually should and should not include. And we will give you an example and justifications, and you will be able to do that with your scope also, because our goal here is we want to make sure that your quality system is built on reality, not assumption. A system that reflects how your organization truly works, not only the papers that are imported from somebody else or from online or consultant. Now, let's have an overview of our case study. We have the core activities include livestock sourcing, slaughtering, and primary carcass handling, refrigerated transport between sites, meat processing and cutting, packing and labeling, cold storage, and domestic distribution and export logistics. Our strategic intent here is to implement ISO 9001 as the foundation, and also we will link all the courses together. So because we are planning to integrate ISO 22000 and also ISO 14001 and ISO 41001 into a single integrated management system. Our case study market reach here include it supplies meat products to local retailers, wholesalers, food services operators, and international export customers that are requiring strict regulatory and customer compliance. Uh, yes, so let's move here to organizational structure and leadership team. And here we will explain the management hierarchy that will be referenced throughout our all 8 models. We will start with the executive leadership. And first, we have a general manager or a CEO who is responsible for overall business accountability, strategic direction, and resources allocation. And then we have operations director who will be responsible for multi-sites coordination, production planning, and capacity management. And then we have quality and compliance manager, who is responsible for QMS ownership, regulatory compliance, and certification management. And then in executive team, we have commercial director, who is responsible for sales, customer relations, export contracts, and market development. Now let's look at the site level management. We have site A manager, who is responsible for slaughtering operations, livestock reception, and also primary processing. And then we have site B manager, who is responsible for secondary processing and packing and cold storage and also dispatch. And we have site maintenance and engineering manager, who is responsible for equipment reliability and calibration and infrastructure. And then on the site level management, you have HR and training manager, who is responsible for competence management, workforce planning, and safety culture. So let's see the operational supervisor on a shift basis. You have slaughtering floor supervisors. You do have processing line supervisors. And then we have packing and labeling supervisors. And we have cold storage and logistics supervisors, quality control technicians or supervisors who are reporting to quality manager. So this structure, we are going to reference it and when we are discussing leadership accountability in Model 4 or video 2, roles and responsibility in Model 2, and also when we are discussing competence and requirements in Model 4, and also when we are discussing internal audit and planning in Model 6, and also when we are discussing management review participation in Model 6. So we are going to reference to this structure. And this is our visual representation of our structure, from operational team to site and support heads to executive leadership. Now let's look at key compliance framework for our case study organization. First, National and Food Safety Authority is responsible or is overseeing slaughterhouse licensing and inspection, veterinary oversight and post-mortem inspection, hygiene and sanitation standards, traceability and recall requirement. And also, if we look at export certification bodies, those overseeing USDA equivalent for US market access, EU approval for European Union exports, halal certification for Middle Eastern markets, and then we have country-specific veterinary health certifications. If we look at quality management system standards, ISO 9001, currently we are implementing, and then planned, we have ISO 22000, ISO 14001, and ISO 45001. And then for customer specific requirements, we do have retail audit, BRC, for example, or IFS or equivalent, uh, private label specifications, packing and labeling standards, traceability, and documentation requirements. So if you ask why this matter for ISO 9001, because regulatory requirements become QMS inputs. Now, here you can reference clearly to the clauses, clause 4.2 and clause 8.2. And also, compliance obligations drive process control. This is clause 8 requirement. And then we have certification requirement, informed scope definition also, which we will do in this model. This for clause 4.3. And then you have customer expectations, shape the quality objectives, clause 6.2, which we will also do here. Now, this regulatory framework will be referenced throughout the course when we discuss the context analysis. Um, Let me just go back here. This regulatory framework will be referenced throughout this course when we discuss context analysis and also interested parties, risk identification, operations control, and performance monitoring. Now, the critical infrastructure and technological system. This content here of this slide is going to describe the physical and technological infrastructure that will support operations, which are essential for understanding resources requirements in our model 4 of this course. So first we have cold chain infrastructure, refrigerated holding tanks inside A. Uh, it has to be maintained in 2 to 8 Celsius. We have chilling rooms of post-slaughter have to be maintained for 0 to 4 Celsius for 24 to 48 hours. Then we do have refrigerated transport fleets. Have to contain GPS tracking and also temperature monitoring. Then we do have process cold rooms inside B, have to be maintained in 0 to 4 Celsius. And then we do have blazed freezers, have to be maintained for minus 35 Celsius to 40 to minus 40 Celsius. Then frozen storage have to be maintained for minus 18 Celsius or below. And then in cold chain infrastructure, the temperature monitoring and alarm system have to be available and maintained too. Then if we look at production equipment that have to be maintained and be available, we have a slaughter line equipment that will include spanning, bleeding, and evisceration. And then we have carcass splitting and trimming equipment, meat cutting and portioning machinery, vacuum packing and labeling system, and then metal detectors and X-ray inspection, and weighing and portioning scales have to be calibrated. If we look at quality and safety monitoring, we have laboratory equipment for microbiological and chemical tests. You have temperature and humidity sensors have to be networked. You have calibrated measuring instruments, a traceability barcode or RFID system, information system infrastructure that need to be available and intact um, that include ERP system for production planning and inventory. Then we have traceability software for lot tracking and suppliers to customers. And also we have quality management software that we need for NCR, CAPA, or audit management. Although we have document control system, and we need also customer order management and export documentation. Everything here needs and mapped. We have utilities and support system infrastructure, water supply and treatment, potable and processed water, wastewater treatment, backup power generation, compressed air system, cleaning and sanitation system also. Now, if you ask why this infrastructure matters, because it defines resources requirement. Again, let's reference the classes, class 7.1, and then it drives maintenance and calibration program as per class 7.1.5, and then it influences process capability and control as per class 8, and then it affects traceability and monitoring as per class 8.5, and then it informs risk identification as per class 6.1. Now, this infrastructure profile, we are going to reference it when we discuss support processes, operational planning, monitoring and measurement, and maintenance of our quality management system. Supply chain and key categories. Let's look at them here because here this content of this slide mapping the upstream supply chain, which is critical for understanding supplier management and outsource processes that we will discuss in Module 5. So first, let's start with livestock suppliers. This is a critical tier one supplier. When we map it out, it has to include approved cattle farms, beef for beef production, approved sheep or lamb farm, approved pig farms, if applicable. The requirements here include animal health certification, traceability documentation, welfare compliance, and veterinary oversight. The risks here include disease, contamination, traceability gaps, and welfare violations. Second on the list, we have packing material suppliers that include vacuum packing films and bags that have to be food grade certified. We have cardboard boxes and corrugated packing. We have label and printing materials and have to be regulatory compliant. And then we have pallet and transport packing. And the requirements here have to be food grade compliance, traceable, and the specifications adherence. Oh, we have here on the list, number 3 on the list, we have chemical and cleaning suppliers that include cleaning and sanitation chemicals that have to be approved for food contact surfaces. We have disinfectants and sanitizers. We have pest control services if we are have to be contracted, or if we are having in-house, but that's a different case. And then the requirements here include safety data sheet, usage instructions, sorry, and the regulatory approval. Fourth on the list, we have utilities and services, water supplies from municipal or private. We have energy providers, electricity, gas, and then we have water management and disposal services, and we have wastewater treatment if we are outsourcing it. Fifth on the list, we have outsourced processes, which are critical for our quality management scope. That includes refrigerated transport. If we are not having it in-house, it has to be outsourced. Laboratory testing, if we don't have it in-house, have to be outsourced. Calibration services for measuring equipments. Maintenance and engineering services for specialized equipment. We have IT system support and data management systems. Certification and compliance services is 6 on the list, and that include halal certification body, organic certifications if that is available applicable. We have veterinary services from government or contracted, and then we have certification body for ISO audits. Why this supplier management matter for ISO 9001 specifically? We have suppliers affect product conformity, and that's per class 8.4. We have outsources processes remain under QMS controls, class 4.2, 4.1. We have supplier performance must be monitored as per class 8.4.3. Suppliers risk feed into organization risk register as per class 6.1, and we have traceability extend to suppliers level as per class 8.5.2. So this supply chain map will be referenced when we discuss context and interested parties in this model, model 1. And then when we discuss risk identification in model 3, and then when we discuss suppliers evaluation and control in model 5, and then when we discuss traceability requirements in model 5, and when we discuss performance monitoring in model 6. This is the visual representation of what we just explained. Now let's look at customer segment and quality expectations for our organization. So the content here in this slide defines the downstream customer base and their specific requirements, which are essential, of course, for understanding customer focus through all of our models. Let's start with domestic retail chain, high volume. What are their expectations? Consistent quality, shelf life guarantees, packing specifications, promotional support, and rapid response to their complaints. Quality requirements, we have retail's audit, for example, BRC or IFS, and also we have product specifications, labeling compliance, traceability, documentation. The risk we have here include delisting, financial penalties, and reputational damage. Let's look at the wholesale and food services customers here. It includes restaurant chains and hotel groups, catering companies and institutional buyers, butchers shops, and specialty meat retailers. What are their expectations? Include portion consistency, cut specifications, reliable delivery schedule, and competitive pricing. Our quality requirements here include product specifications, hygiene certificates, delivery temperature control or records. Let's look at our export customers' high compliance here. We have European Union imports, strict veterinary and hygiene standards. We have Middle Eastern markets. They need halal certifications in mandatory there. We have Asian markets. A specific cutting style, packing requirements. US market, USDA equivalent or HACCP compliance, all these are required. Expectations. We didn't include African markets there because African have more than enough to import from anywhere. So we didn't include there. Uh, expectations. Their expectations here full regulatory compliance, export health certificates, traceability to farm level, and containers temperature monitoring. Quality requirements, country specific certification, veterinary approvals, and documentation accuracy, zero tolerance for non compliance. Direct to consumer, which is a growing segment for our organization that include online meat delivery services, farm to table program. Their expectations here is transparency, animal welfare information, premium quality, and convenient packing. What are our quality requirements here? Clear labeling and storytelling and freshness guarantees. Uh, let's look at our customer requirements that derive quality requirements. We put in the table here, you can see product safety and hygiene as a customer expectations. ISO requirements, you have class 8.5 product control. How does QMS respond to this? Hygiene procedures, temperature monitoring, sanitation schedule. We have uh, consistent quality. This ISO 8.1 requirements for operational planning. Our response in QMS here is process control, specifications, inspections, and requirements. Then we have We have full traceability. It's a requirement of ISO 9001 class 8.5.2 identification and traceability. QMS response here by lot tracking system, suppliers to customer traceability. We have regulatory compliance. This ISO 9001 requirement, class 8.2 customer requirements. We respond with our QMS by regulatory register and compliance verification. Then we have rapid complaint response. This is ISO 9001 requirements, class 8.2.1 and class 9.1.2 customer satisfaction. Our response here in QMS is through complaint handling procedures and effective root cause analysis. Then we have delivery reliability, the requirements of ISO 8 class 8.5.1 control of production. Response with our QMS here include production planning, inventory management, and logistics control. Why customer understanding matters? If you ask, because it defines quality objectives as per clause 6.2. It shapes operational control, clause 8. It drives monitoring and measurement, clause 9.2. It informs risk identification, clause 6.1. It determines customer satisfaction metrics, clause 9.1.2. So this customer profile, we are going to reference it when we are discussing interested parties analysis in this model, model one. And then when we are discussing quality policies and objectives in model two, risk-based thinking in model three, customer communication in model four, operations planning in model five, and when we discuss customer satisfaction monitoring in model six. Now, let's look at business performance baseline, pre-ISO implementation. Now, this content establishes the current state metrics that ISO 9001 will help improve. And this is critical for setting objectives in Model 2 and measuring improvement in Model 6. Now, first, let's look at the uh, product quality metrics. Customer complaint rate. Currently, we have 2.3 of shipments, uh, which is more than the average industry, which is 1.5. We have product return or rejection at 1.8 of production volume right now for this organization. We have internal rework rate is at 4.2, which is a significant cost impact. And then we have a specification conformance is at 94%, but we are targeting more than 98%. Let's look at operational efficiency. Right now, this organization for the production yield is at 87%. So there is a potential for improvement there. And then we have downtime due to equipment failure. It's at 6% of production time, which is huge. And then we have uh, schedule adherence. It is at 89%. And that affects late deliveries and customer satisfaction. Affecting customer late deliveries are affecting customer satisfaction. We have inventory accuracy right now is at 91%. So this is a concern for traceability. If we look at customer satisfaction right now for our case study organization, overall satisfaction is 7.2 out of 10, and on-time delivery rates is 89%. Documentation accuracy for export right now is at 93%, and those errors are causing delay. And then we have complaint Response time right now is averaging 5 days, but we are targeting 48 hours to handle the complaint. Compliance and audit performance right now for our case study organization. Regulatory inspection findings right now the is averaging 3 to 5 minors non-conformance per year. Customer audit scores is at 78 to 85%, which is below preferred supplier threshold. Internal audit coverage right now is inconsistent and not systematic. And right now, the corrective action closure rate is at 67%. Many actions are incomplete. We have, let's look at the food safety incidents in the past 12 months. For example, temperature exhaustion. We have 12 incident cold chain breaks. That means averaging every month we have a problem. And then we have traceability gap identified for the past 12 months are 8 incidents. Foreign body detections, 3 incidents caught by metal detector. We have labeling error, 15 incidents in the last 12 months. This is a regulatory risk. And then we have near miss recall, 2 incidents, but they are contained before the distribution. These are huge risks. So let's see at the cost of poor quality now. We are estimating $180,000 rework and scrap annually, $95,000 customer return and credit annually. 42,000 US dollar expedited shipping annually service recovery. We have $67,000 is over time due to inefficiency annually. The total of estimated of cost of poor quality is 384,000 annually, which is 1.9% of revenue. A lot of money because of poor quality. Why this baseline matter for ISO 9001? Good question. Because it establishes measurable quality objectives as per clause 6.2. It identifies improvement opportunities, clause 10. It justifies resources allocation for QMS implementation. It provides ROI measurements frameworks. It highlights risk areas, requires process control as per clause 8. And also it demonstrates business case for leadership commitment. Clause 5, leadership. Now, expected improvement after ISO 9001 implementation. We have reduced customer complaints by 40% within the first 12 months, improved specifications conformance to more than 98%, reduced cost of poor quality by 30 to 50% within 18 months, achieved 95%, more than 95% customer satisfaction score, and eliminate regulatory non-conformance, and also to improve customer audit score to more than 90%, which is a preferred supplier status. This performance baseline, we are going to reference it when we discuss building the business case in model 1 here, setting quality objectives in the next model, model 2, and then identify risk and opportunities in model 3, uh, designing, monitoring, and measurement system in model 6, and also demonstrating continual improvement in model 7, and justifying certifications investment in model 8. This is our visual representation. Now, common quality issues and root cause analysis for the core current status. Contents of this slide is going is documenting recurring quality problems that ISO 9001 will systematically address, essential for understanding the need for processes control and corrective actions. Recurring quality problem right now. Number one, we have traceability breakdown, the symptoms that we have identified, unable to trace a specific product back to source livestock or forward to customers within required time frame. Frequency, we have 8 incidents in the past 12 months. The root cause for this problem is manual record keeping gaps, incomplete lot documentations, inconsistent labeling practices between site A and site B. Business impact of this problem is export delay, regulatory risk, customer confidence erosion. Those are the problems, the impacts of these problems. So ISO 9001 solution, class 8.5.2, identification and traceability, documented procedures, and system integration. Problem number two, temperature control failure. The systems that you can see, cold chain temperature exhaustion during storage or transportation. How many times it happened during these 12 months? 12 incidents in 12 months. Root causes, equipment calibration lapses, alarm system failure not addressed promptly, inadequate monitoring during transport, lack of preventative maintenance. Business impact of this problem, product is spoiled, shelf life reduction, customer complaints, and potential food safety risk. ISO 9001 will solve this how? In Class 7.1.5 Monitoring and Measurement Resources and Class 8.5.1 Production Control Preventive Maintenance Program will be implemented. Now, third problem, specifications non-conformance. Obvious customer right now, symptom right now is products not meeting customers' weight, cut, or packing specifications. How many times did it happen during these 12 months? 6% of production requires rework or downgrade. Root causes is inadequate work infrastructure instructions, inefficient operator training, equipment variability, lack of in-house check. How is this problem impacting the business? Is include rework costs, customer dissatisfaction, margin erosion on downgraded products. How is ISO going to solve this effectively? With Class 7.1 competence and Class 8.5.1 production control. Work instructions will be introduced, effective one, and process monitoring. Problem number four, we have documentation errors for export. Obvious symptom right now is incorrect or incomplete export health certification, commercial invoices, or certifications of origin. Frequency, 7% of export shipments have documentation errors. The root causes, manual data entry, lack of verification steps, unclear responsibility, and time pressure. What's the business impact of this problem? Shipment delays, custom penalties, customer frustrations, lost sales opportunities. How is ISO 9001 going to solve this effectively? Through Class 7.5, documented information, Class 8.2.3, review of customer requirements and verification procedures. Fifth problem here, we have inconsistent corrective actions. The obvious symptoms, uh, Same problems recurring despite previous corrective action. How many times? Frequency. 33% of corrective actions fail to prevent recurrence. The root cause for that is superficial root cause analysis right now. Actions not implemented fully and lack of verification, and also there is no follow up. How is this impacting the business? Is through wasted resources, continued quality costs, and loss of credibility. How is this ISO 9001 going to solve this? Through clause 10.2, non-conformity and corrective actions. In structures, root cause analysis, and effectiveness verification. We have our sixth problem here currently with our organization is supplier quality issues. The obvious system is livestock arriving with incomplete documentation, packing materials not meeting specifications. How many times? 15 suppliers related incident in the past 12 months. What's the root cause here? It's not no formal supplier evaluation processes, unclear specifications, and inadequate incoming inspections. The business impact includes production delay, increased inspection burdens, and traceability gaps. How is ISO 9001 going to solve this issue? Through clause 4.2, control of external provided processes and supplier evaluation and monitoring. Now, pattern analysis, why these problems persist. We traceability gap here, not documented processes, inconsistent execution. Uh, what are we going to do? Process documentation, process documentation and training and verification. While here we have equipment failure. What's happening? Reactive maintenance and no calibration schedule. What are we going to do with ISO 9001? Preventative maintenance program and control uh, and calibration control. Right now, there is a specification error. Why? What are they doing? Tribal knowledge, inadequate training. So, what are we going to do? Competence requirements and work instructions and monitoring. We are going to introduce all this with ISO 9001. We have documentation mistake currently. What are they doing? No verification and unclear ownership. But with ISO 9001, they're going to introduce document control, review procedure, and accountability. And currently, they have recurring problems. And what are they doing? No root cause discipline. With ISO 9001, we are going to introduce the structured corrective actions processes, effectiveness checking. Another problem here, recurring problems, now supplier issues. Currently, there is informal relationships, no performance tracking. With ISO 9001, we are going to introduce supplier evaluation criteria and performance monitoring. ISO 9001 uh, difference. These problems exist because the organizations lack systematic processes. So ISO 9001 doesn't fix individual problems. It builds systems that prevent them from occurring and catches them early when they do. Here, the key teaching here, we have quality problems are symptoms. ISO 9001 addresses the underlying system weakness that allow the problem to occur and persist. So next time when we see a problem, a system, the root cause, the effective root cause analysis and applicable solution is the cure, not just focusing on. So this analysis, we are going to reference it when we are explaining the business case for ISO 9001 in this model here, and also when we are identifying risk and opportunities in model 3, when designing operations control model 5, when building corrective actions in model 7, and then when we are demonstrating improvement after implementation in model 8 certification. Two sites operations model. Let's look now at our organization's two sides. We have site A, slaughtering and primary handling. This is a critical upstream operations. It includes approved livestock reception, verification of animal health documentation, animal welfare, and antemortem inspection, slaughtering operations, primary carcass handling and initial chilling, and also preparation of carcass for transport to site B. Uh, this site A here operates under strict hygiene, animal welfare, and regulatory requirements. Decisions here in site A directly affect quality, safety, and consistency. We have site B, uh, which is here, it includes processing, packing, and export, which is the secondary and final processing for our organization here. What they do, receiving an acceptance check, cutting, deboning, and portioning, product specifications control happen here at site B, packing and labeling, cold storage and inventory management, preparation for local distribution and export, customer communication and, and complaints handling, and traceability and recall readiness. Critical interface. Here, we have to pay attention for the transport between side A and side B, the most critical window here. The handover between side A and B represent one of the highest risk quality, traceability, and customer satisfaction. Effective communication and clearly defined ownership across sites are essential, and we are going to explain that in details why. Products, markets, and export requirements. We have wholesale carcasses, complete carcasses for wholesale distribution and further processing by customers. We have premium and sub-premium cuts, large section prepared to customer specification for food service and retailers. We have portion and packaged products, consumer-ready products with full labeling and traceability for retail and export. Export market imposes additional requirement here, product specifications, labeling, and language compliance, shelf life and storage condition, regulatory approval and certifications. These requirements directly influence our QMS design and process control. Now let's look at the uh, workforce and competence requirements. We have our organization employs 200 to 500 personnel across multiple roles, shifts, this uh, multiple roles, shifts. So ensuring competence here. Uh, just a second. Uh, I don't know what's. We just mess up a little bit. Just a second. Yeah. Ensuring competence, training, and awareness here is critical due to high operational inconsistency, hygiene and quality risk, regulatory standing, and export market expectation. Let's start with operations personnel. Slaughtering operators, processing and packing personnel working in shift-based operations with a mix of permanent and temporary workers. We have quality and safety staff, quality and food safety professionals responsible for verification, monitoring, and compliance activities. Here mainly we are focusing on the competence requirement and we'll explain more later. So those are the segments that we need to ensure the competence requirement for each. We have technical support, maintenance and engineering staff ensuring equipment reliability and calibration. We have logistics and warehouse, personal management, cold storage, inventory control, and distribution coordination. We have management and support, supervisors and managers providing leadership, decision making, and processes oversight. And then we have administrative support, staff handling documentation, customer communication, and system administration. Um, a skill-based role where competence directly affect quality outcomes requires a structured training program and verification of effectiveness. Key processes and flow. This is our flow from reception to distribution. Now, we have to understand the processes flow and their interactions. Okay, this is a visual, but now we are going to explain further. Right. A second. Now, let's look at the first uh, livestock sourcing and supplier approval. Here, quality start before production with approved suppliers and animal health verifications. So we need to ensure that. Then we have reception and inspection. Verification of documents and coding prevents downstream failure. Then we have slaughtering and carcass handling, humane, controlled operations to ensure product safety and consistency. In this step here, which is chilling and temperature storage, we have temperature control, maintenance to maintain product integrity during handling. The next step, which is transport between two sites, cold chain integrity here during transfer is critical for quality maintenance. We have receiving and acceptance at side B, verification checks to ensure product meets specifications before processing here. The other step, which is processing and cutting at side B, process verification directly here affect quality and customer satisfaction. And the next step, which is packing and labeling, at side B, accurate labeling builds customer and regulatory trust here through traceability. And we have the next C, which is called storage and inventory control. Here it prevents spoilage and complaints through proper temperature management. We have the final step, which is distribution and export. Final cold chain integrity here ensure product reaches customers in optimal condition. Now let's look at supporting processes, the foundation. These processes here enable and support the core production flow. So ISO 9001 requires understanding how all processes interact, not just listing them. We have first procurement and supplier management. Here, by ensuring approved suppliers meet requirements for livestock, packing material, and services. The second process, maintenance and calibration, preventing equipment failure and ensuring measurement accuracy through planning and maintenance. Third step, training and competence management, building and maintaining workforce capability through a structured training program. We have fourth step, quality assurance verification, monitoring, measurement, and verifying that all processes deliver intended results. We have document and records control. Here in fifth step is ensuring current information is available and historical evidence is maintained. Sixth step, internal audit and management review, systematic evaluation of system effectiveness and leadership decision making. Why ISO 9001 project failed before they start? This is the core element of why we are now explaining model one. ISO 9001 fail when they start with document instead of reality. Understanding common failure patterns help organizations avoid costly mistakes and build systems that actually work the way now we are understanding our organization. So let's see here what organization do, what actually happened, and why it fails. When it start with they start with ISO clauses. What happened there? People don't understand what they are implementing. So why it fails? Clauses are describing the requirements, not the operations, the way we are doing right now. Also, organization use generic templates. What happened there? Documents don't match shop floor practices. And it fails because it creates paper system, which is disconnected from reality. Organizations also, the outsource system to consultant. And what happened there? No internal ownership or understanding. And it failed because systems collapsed after consultant left. And also some organizations they rush for certification deadlines, some customer requirements, and all that. And what happened there? Superficial implementation. There is no depth at all. It's not deep, not depth, deep depth. And what happened there? Problem reappears during surveillance audit next year. So it's a critical understanding here. ISO reflects organization. It does not fix weak leadership or poor communication or unclear processes. These foundation issues must be addressed first. So understanding the organization as a system. This is now as per class 4.1 and 4.4. So ISO class 4.4 requires understanding how processes interact, not just listing them. The table here we are going to show is the core business flow and why ISO core care about each stage. Process stage of livestock sourcing. What happened? Approved suppliers, animal health check. Why ISO care here? Quality start before production. Reception and inspection. What happened during the process stage of reception and inspection? Verification of documents and condition. Why ISO care? Because it prevents downstream failure. The process stage of slaughtering. What happened there? Humane and controlled operations. Why ISO care here? Because product safety and consistency happen here. Uh, the stage of processing. Uh, when cutting, trimming, and portioning. What happened here, and why isocare? Because process variation here affects quality. The stage of packing, labeling, sealing, and traceability. Here is where customer and regulatory trust is gained. The process of cold storage, uh, where temperature control holding is implemented. ISO here cares because it prevents spoilage and complaint. We have the stage of distribution, the local and export transport. Here, ISO care because cold chain integrity is vital. So each stage depend on the previous one. If you notice, failure cascades through the system, making process interaction understanding essential for effective quality management. Context of the organization, what affects quality? Clause 4.1. Context is not a paperwork, it is the operating reality. The system must respond to it. Understanding internal and external issues is mandatory under ISO 9001 clause 4.1. So let's see internal issues here. Internal issue number one, we have workforce turnover. The example for that is seasonal or temporary worker. How does it affect quality? Inconsistent practices. We have another issue of equipment condition. Example, aging slaughter or cutting lines. It affects quality because it increased defects. Another issue, internal issue, shift patterns. Example, long shift or fatigue. It affects quality because it introduces human error. We have training gaps issue, internal issue. Example for that is informal on-the-job learning. It affects quality because of uh, it introduces process deviation. External issues here. We have regulations. Example, export authority requirements. It impact quality compliance risk. Market demand. Example, market demands is an external issue. Example for that is customer specifications. It affects quality for rework or rejection. Supply chain, another external issue. Example, livestock availability. It affects quality variation. Logistics, external issue. Example, transport delay. It affect quality because of cold chain failure. Performance context analysis for this organization. Here is, we are going to introduce a complete audit-ready context analysis that should be documented for this meat processing organization. This become a living document, which is reviewed during management review. Internal context summary. Workforce 200 to 500 employees across two sites with shift-based operations, mix of performance and temporary workers, seasonal fluctuation affecting consistency. Infrastructure, aging equipment at Site A requiring increased maintenance, cold chain dependency across both sites, transport coordination between facilities. Knowledge requirement here, informal, the available knowledge, sorry, informal training practices, high reliance on experienced personnel, and documentations gap in tribal knowledge area. Culture, production focused mindset, growing quality awareness, need for a strong cross-site communication. The external context summary for the external issues. Regulatory, local food safety authorities requirements, export country specific regulations, animal welfare legislations, traceability mandates. Market, increasing customer specifications complexity, export market growth opportunity, price pressure from competitors, and demand for certifications. Supply chain, livestock reliability variation, seasonal availability impact, transport provider cold chain capability, packing material, lead times. Technology, industry automation trends, traceability system expectations, and cold chain monitoring advances. Implementation note here. This context analysis should be reviewed at least annually during management review, and whenever significant change occur, it directly informs risk assessment and strategic planning accordingly. Interested parties and their expectations. This is a requirement of clause 4.2. So unmet expectations become risk. ISO 9001 requires identifying interested parties and understanding their relevant requirements. Here, this table will show how the QMS address each party's expectations. First, let's say customers. Their expectation, consistent quality, traceability, on-time delivery, and specifications compliance. How does ISO addresses this? Through process control, monitoring, customer communication, and complaint handling. Two, we have regulators. Uh, their expectation, legal compliance, food safety, uh, animal, and also animal welfare, and accurate records. How does ISO addresses this? Documented procedures, records, inspections, corrective actions. Employees, their expectation, safe working conditions, clear work methods, and fair treatment and competency evaluation. How does ISO addresses this? Proper training program, proper communication, proper documented procedures, and proper competence verification. Suppliers, their expectation, clear specifications, fair evaluation, timely payment, and partnership approach. How does ISO addresses this? Supplier approval is critical. Supplier approval criteria, uh, performance monitoring. Sorry, yes, performance monitoring and communication. Uh, Sorry, I was interrupted by a call there. Sorry for that. We have certification bodies. Their expectation is objective evidence, system conformity, and continual improvement. How does ISO addresses this? Through documented information, audit trails, management review, and corrective actions. The owner or stakeholders, what are their expectations? Profitability, risk management, market reputation, and growth. How does ISO address this? Through performance monitoring, cost of quality, strategic planning, and management review. Now, we have here perfect interested parties register for this organization, and you can replicate that for your organization. Uh, this is a complete interested parties register that should be maintained and reviewed regularly. And this document demonstrates compliance with ISO 4.2 and uh, informs risk-based thinking. First, customer, local, and export. The requirement, product specifications, shelf life guarantee, traceability documentation, halal or kosher certifications wherever applicable, temperature records, delivery schedules, complaints respond within 24 hours. How do we monitor this? Customer satisfaction survey, complaints analysis, delivery performance metrics, and through specifications conformity rates. Uh, Regulatory authorities, the requirements, local food safety compliance, export country approvals, animal welfare standards, environmental permits, worker safety regulations, traceability system capability. How do we monitor this? Inspection through inspection results, non-conformance reports, regulatory updates, tracking, and permit rework status. Number three, we have certification bodies. What are the requirements? ISO 9001 conformity, objective evidence availability, system effectiveness demonstrations, corrective actions closure, and management review evidence. How do we monitor this? Through audit findings, surveillance audit schedules, corrective action effectiveness, and certification status. This is supposed to be number four. Sorry, I was supposed to correct some numbers. Number four, employees, contractors, the requirements. Employees and contractors, the requirements, safety working environment, clear procedures, adequate training, appropriate equipment, fair treatment, career development opportunities. So how do we monitor these uh, employees and contract uh, their interests through training completion rates, competence assessment, which is very important, safety incident reports, employees feedback, and turnover rates. Uh, Number five, we have livestock suppliers. The requirements, clear quality specifications, fair evaluation criteria, timely feedback, payment payment terms, long-term relationships, animal welfare standards. How do we monitor their interests? Through suppliers' performance scorecards, quality acceptance rates, delivery reliability, animal health documentations compliance. Number six, transport and logistics providers. What are their requirements? Cold chain, the requirements for this interested party, cold chain capability, vehicle cleanliness, temperature monitoring, on-time performance, documentation accuracy, and emergency response capability. How do we monitor this? Through temperature exhaustion reports, delivery timelines, timeliness, vehicle inspection results, and incident reports. Now, defining the scope for the quality management system. This is a requirement of 4.3. A scope is not a marketing statement. It is a boundary of responsibility. A scope must be honest and it must be defensible and it must reflect what the organization actually controls. We are going to give you a perfect example here. So first, we are going to show you the table, which is critical scope questions and ideal answers for the organization. You can replicate these for your organization as well. Scope question. Are slaughtering activities included? Yes. The ideal question, yes. Because humane slaughtering and carcass handling. Why it must be included? Because it's called product realization activity. Is processing included? Yes. Ideally, cutting, trimming, portioning. Why must be included? Because it's direct quality impact on final products. Is packing including in our scope? Yes. Labeling, scaling, sealing, and coding. Why? Traceability and compliance requirement. Uh, is cold storage included in our scope? Yes. Chillers and freezers at both sides. Why? Product integrity maintenance for product integrity maintenance. Are export activities included in our scope? Yes. Document logistics coordination. Why? Because customer and regulatory requirements. Is outsourced transport included? This is a controlled via supplier management. So we control through via supplier management, through supplier. We give them our expectation and they have to do it. Called chain transferability, responsibility. Is product design included? No. Products are standards up to customer specs. So no design activities occurs here. So class 8.3 is excluded. You can see the exclusion, how it happened here. Exclusion justification, clause 8.3, design and development. It's excluded because the organization produces standards, meet cuts to customer specifications. So no design activity occur here. This exclusion must be justified in quality manual. Now let's see how we can write this scope. So here is a complete audit-ready scope statement that should appear in quality manual. This scope is honest, defensible, and reflects actual operations, and you can reflect this scope in your organization, tailor it to your organization. Uh, Quality management system, organization name, Global Meat House, standard ISO 9001 2015. Scope of activities. The quality management system covers slaughtering, processing, packing, cold storage, and distribution of meat products for local and international markets, conducted across two physical separate sites. Site A, livestock reception, slaughtering, primary carcass handling, initial chilling, and preparation for uh, intersite transportation. Side B, carcass receiving, cutting, deboning, portioning, packing, labeling, cold storage, and preparation for distribution and export. Product, whole carcasses, premial and subpremial cuts, portioned and packed meat products. Markets, local retailers, wholesalers, food service operators, and international export customers. Supporting procedures, procurement and supplier management, maintenance and calibration, training and competence management, quality assurance, document control, internal audit, and management review. Exclusion class 8.3, design and development of product and service, is excluded. The organization produces standard meat cuts according to customer specifications and regulatory requirements. No design activity occurs. This exclusion does not affect the organization's ability to ensure conformity of products and services. Physical location, the address of site A and the address of site B. Number of employees, approximately 200 to 500 across both sites. So this is how you write the perfect scope. Template and consultant tools. Let's discuss this. Why, uh, like it make organization fail and how to use it correctly. Actually, ISO 9001 requires any ISO framework requires organization ownership, not consultant ownership. Understanding the proper use versus misuse of tools will prevent the common implementation failures. When you understand this, how to use it correctly, you can still use these tools, but in the right way and prevent the common fail that happen due to misuse. First, let's see template. Template, the proper use for template is a starting point to adapt to your specifications, specific operations and contexts. But the common misuse is just blind copy paste without understanding or customization. The consultants, the proper use is for guidance, is for coaching, and is for knowledge transfer to build internal capabilities to train your own people to have the proper understanding of the system. But the common misuse is just, outsource ownership where consultant they write everything and just go, and then everything will collapse after they leave. Now the manual document. The proper use of the manual is just to describe real processes at the actual as the actual happen on the shop floor. But the problem is, the common misuse manual describe idealized process that actually don't match the reality. Procedures. The proper use of procedure is to document the best practice that people already follow successfully internally. But the problem or the misuse of the procedure, just they create new requirements and say and call it a procedure, and people will ignore and work around it. So software, proper use for software here is to support existing processes and make the documentation easier, not to complicate it. The problem or the misuse of the software is it forces processes to fit software limitation, and that mess up with everybody. The key principles here: the organization must own its QMS. External resources should build internal capabilities, not create dependency and always call the consultant and all that. If the consultant disappear tomorrow, could your team maintain and improve the system? The answer must be yes. If it's no, then there is a lot of work to be done. And just follow this table and everything will be fine. Context plus scope equals the system foundation. So everything in ISO 9001 builds on this foundation, guys, the context and scope and this model. Weaknesses at this stage will cascade through the entire implementation. These clause and effect relationship, this cause and effect relationship shows why model one is critical. So just take your time, understand this model one before you move to model two, because this is where your success starts. First, if context is ignored, what happened? Then risks are missed. Process don't address real issues, and the system failed to prevent problems that actually occur in operations. So context must be understood. If scope is unclear, what happened? Then audit findings multiply because you don't know if it's out of scope or in scope, and people are confused, responsibility are confused, and the organization cannot demonstrate control over its activities. Number three, if processes are not clear, what happened? Then results are inconsistent, training is ineffective, and the organization cannot identify where problems originates. Number four, if ownership is unclear, and we will clarify everything, I promise, in all the coming models. And then the system collapses after certifications. Documents become outdated and continual improvement doesn't exist. Success patterns. Organizations that invest in if you invest your time in this model one, just first to understand, you'll find the rest of ISO number 9001 implementation is straightforward. Those who rush this foundation, skip it and go to model two without understanding the foundation, scope, and processes and context will struggle throughout the entire project. Model one implementation output. By the time you return to your organization, uh, what you should know, the following tangible outputs will demonstrate that you understand your organization before attempting to build QMS. So make sure you understand this model. Each output should be documented and reviewed with the scope. So let's see the things that you should understand from this model. First, process mapping. End-to-end flow of operations shows how processes interact, input and output of each process, and critical handover point, especially if you have multi-sites. Number two, context list. Documented internal and external issues affecting quality with evidence of how each issue impact operations and how the QMS must address. You have number three, interested parties register. You should have understood by now and reflects in your organization complete list of interested parties, their expectations and requirements, and how the organization monitor satisfaction and compliance. Number four, define QMS scope. Clear, honest, defensible, a scope statement. You should be able to build that and understand that, including physical locations, activities coverage, product, market, and justified exclusion. Number five, shared understanding, leadership and team alignment on how the organization operates, what affects quality, and what the quality must accomplish. This evidence through the workshop, presentation, and documented agreements. Quality check here. Can you explain your organization's operations to an auditor without referring to documents? This is very critical here. Can your team describe how their work connects to customer satisfaction? If yes, that means you complete uh, this model successfully. Let's summarize our model one summary for this organization profile. This model has built a complete realistic organization profile that will serve as the foundation for all subsequent models. This is not a theoretical exercise as you guys have seen. This is reality that the QMS must serve. Organization characteristics. Two site meat production operations. We have slaughtering plus processing. 200 to 500 employees across multi shifts and functions. Full value chain, livestock sourcing to slaughtering to processing to packing to distribution. Multi-market reach, domestic retailers, food services, export, EU, Middle East, Asia, US, and Africa. But like we said before, Africa have enough resources. They they don't need export. Complex regulatory environment, national food safety, uh, export certification, customer audits, leadership structure, executive team, from CEO to operation director to quality compliance to commercial director, and also site level management and operational supervisors across all areas, and clear accountability framework for Model 2 leadership. Now, regulatory and compliance framework. We talk about National Food Safety Authority oversight, export certifications requirements, customer specification standards, and plan integrated ISO frameworks. Infrastructure and technology, we talk about comprehensive cold chain, we talk about product equipment from slaughtering, processing, and packing. We talk about monitoring system, lab, sensors, traceability. We talk about information system. And when we come to supply chain, critical tier one livestock suppliers, we talk about it with traceability requirements, packing, chemicals, utility suppliers, outsourced processes, transportation, calibration, specialized service, and we talk about certifications and compliance service providers. When we come to customer base, we talk about domestic retail chain, high volume, strict specifications, all sales and food services consistency. We talk about export customers, and we talk about direct consumers. When we come to current performance baseline, we have highlighted customer complaints rate, cost of poor quality, specification conformance, customer satisfaction, and audit scores. Also, we have discussed uh, recurring quality problems, start with traceability breakdown, temperature control failure, specifications non-conformance, export documentation error, if ineffective corrective actions, and supplier quality issues. We also discuss about why this profile matters. Every subsequent models will reference these organizations' reality. So now we will move to model two, leadership. We will discuss leadership structure and accountability. Also, model 3 planning, model 4, model 3 planning, risk identification from current problems and contexts. And then we will discuss model 4, support, infrastructure, competence needs, document requirements. Model 5, operations, process control, addressing current quality issues. And then model 6, performance, metrics based on current baseline and improvement targets. Model 7, current actions for recurring problems. And then we have Model 8, certifications, audit readiness based on complete system understanding. Key teaching principles here: ISO 9001 implementation must start with deep organization understanding. Templates and generic procedures fail because they ignore this reality. This profile ensures every tool, every procedure, and every control we develop in subsequent modules will be fit for the purpose for this specific organization. You are now ready for Model 2 leadership and quality culture. Now, we have the final message here. First, reality first, documentation second. ISO 9001 does not begin with documents. It begins with understanding reality. When reality is clear, documentations become easy. When reality is ignored, documentation become meaningless. We have 80% implementation failure occur because organizations skip understanding their annual operations and jump straight to writing procedures. But we have 3%, 3 times faster implementation of organization that complete model 1 understanding thoroughly. Uh, they implement the rest of 9001 3 times faster than those who rush. 95% of audit success rate for organizations with clear context, scope, and process understanding versus 40% for those with paper system. The QMS must reflect how the organization actually operates, not an idealized or theological model. So this principle of understanding and not just theory of paper guides every decision in ISO 9001 implementation. Your system should describe reality so accurately that an auditor can walk your facility and see exactly what the documents are describing. So next step, you have make sure you complete this model thoroughly and understanding it before you move to uh, to model 2. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you found this helpful, and I hope you will also enjoy the other models to follow. Thank you.